Scanning for audio.
Welcome to a Tin Dog podcast, this time talking about the Winston Churchill box set. The Churchill Years, Volume 1. Now, I'm not an enormous fan of the historicals. No, truly, you may have noticed that. I am the child that JNT was working for, the one who went, "We need some monsters," because obviously that's how I talked when I was a child. Now, when we discovered that we had, as fans, as Doctor Who-ness, the idea that Big Finish would be producing crossover material between the original series and the new series, bringing it all together in a lovely, fluffy package, you know what? We were pleased. Some of us are trepidatious and they are scared. I mean, let's face it, there's a Jadoon story coming quite soon. But no, they said, right, we'll be giving you River Song as box sets, and I've already reviewed those. But we'll also be getting the Churchill Years, and I thought that was an odd thing. Yes, Ian McNeice is a fabulous actor. He's been in stuff for years. He's also a great convention guest. He can tell stories until the cows come home, and he will hold the audience in rapture. The fact that he now has something else to call his own and have signed by the likes of us, well, that's going to be good. Yes, he'd played Churchill a few times, and, you know, the physicality's there, which is ideal, of course, for radio. And we're presented with 4 stories from across his life. Now, admittedly, part of me would really have liked something from earlier on, but the idea of him writing his memoirs and coming back to him lets us have the narrator, which admittedly puts my back up a bit. I'm still not a fond of the narrator as a concept. But here they're all being told by Churchill. They are his diaries. And we have 4 very nicely crafted stories. The Oncoming Storm by Phil Marine, Mulreen by Phil Marine, Hounded by Alan Barnes, Living History by Justin Richards, and The Chartwell Metamorphosis. My favourite, hands down, is Living History by Justin Richards, but I'll give you a brief taste of each. The first one, yes, of course, I forgot to say, they all have a doctor inside. But it's not Ian McNeice doing an impression of the Doctor, it's Ian McNeice doing an impression of Winston Churchill doing an impression of a Doctor. It's not exactly hilarious, but it is well worth examining. It's 1939. Britain faces the might of Germany. Winston Churchill serves as First Lord of the Admiralty, but Churchill soon finds himself facing a more immediate threat than the looming Nazi menace. A stone with the most mysterious properties is discovered in Thames Sands, and soon oddly spoken soldiers are creeping around London, ruthlessly trying to acquire it. Who are they? Can Churchill and his new secretary, Hetty Warner, defeat them? And what about the man in the battered leather jacket that Hetty meets? Churchill feels sure they can rely on the Doctor to help them, except the Doctor seems to want to stay hidden in the shadows. It's a 9th Doctor story. He's not in it very much, but he's definitely there. And that kind of sums up these boxed sets. Yes, the Doctor does make an appearance, but he's not in it all the time. These aren't Doctor Who stories, they are stories that happen to have the Doctor turning up, a bit like Virgin New Adventures. The second one, Hounded, it's the dark days of 1941. Britain's in the midst of war. Churchill must stand strong against the might of the enemies, but he is plagued by a darkness of his own psyche, something he calls the Black Dog. Can a visiting Swami hold the answer to his troubles? Can Hetty Warner prevent the Prime Minister's adversaries from taking advantage of the situation? Across London, the 10th Doctor's arrival may be the nation's only hope, but the Time Lord's plan to help his friends is endangered when he finds himself declared a traitor by the agents of the country he has come to protect. Again, 10th Doctor story, with Ian McNeice doing an impression of the 10th Doctor. Now, we all know about the whole Black Dog being a synonym for depression and the like, and here it's played out beautifully. If ever you've had that kind of thing in your life, it's a great, great story to try and encapsulate that and give you a different perspective. Because Churchill was massively depressed for huge sections of his life. But that level of mania did help him get through. And whether you're a fan of Churchill or not, he wanted to gas the miners after all in the strikes. He's not completely a hero. That bit of history is often skated over, especially in the south of the UK. Well, I'm sure we can come to terms with it. Living history, of course, is my favourite. Here's the synopsis. Finally given the chance to travel in the TARDIS, Winston Churchill cannot resist the opportunity to meet Julius Caesar. But the trip does not quite go as planned. With the TARDIS gone, Churchill stranded in ancient Britain with a young man he barely knows, and who comes from the future. It seems things can hardly get any worse, until he's captured by the invading Romans. Still, at least, that means Churchill will meet Julius Caesar after all. But then Churchill learns of the Bronze God, feared and worshipped by the ancient Britons, a god that he recognises as anything but divine when he meets it. You'll hear in the trailer in a few minutes that it's a Dalek. It makes sense. It actually makes a tremendous sense in this story, and it works really, really well. Yes, the fact that it was a Dalek story did perk my interest. You know, I'm a sucker for that kind of thing. So yeah, it's a great story, and it fits with Churchill's love of history. Finally, we've got the Chartwell metamorphosis, and, well, Churchill's getting old. Comfortably retired to his home at Chartwell, Churchill plans to live out his days in peace in the company of his butterflies, if his attendants would just leave him alone. But it isn't simply Lepidoptera breeding in the garden, as a far more sinister species is about to emerge from its cocoon, and it's ready to feast on something more than just the shrubberies. Surrounded on all sides, the former Prime Minister must put a life's worth of experience in order to win the day. Can his new nurse, Lily Arwell, offer her assistance? You know what? It's a decent enough story. And yes, it's got a rather nice twee ending. But that's not a bad thing. It's just a thing. I thoroughly enjoyed this box set, and must admit, I'm looking forward to the next one. It did say Volume 1 on the front after all. So much better than I thought, and the narration is kept at bay by the actual action. 4 different writers give us 4 very different stories. Historically, they feel very, very true to their core. And you know what? I'm not going to question that at all, so go for it. Buy it. It's yours. If you enjoyed some of the aspects of Victory of the Daleks, then you definitely will enjoy this. So until next time, I'll leave you with the trailer, and I'll speak to you all very soon. Probably about Doctor Who? I would say so. Be seeing you.
Coming soon from Big Finish Productions. Doctor Who, The Churchill Years, Volume 1.
I was the first to appreciate that after all my misguided efforts, a trip aboard the Doctor's improbable flying machine was all that was needed to make an old man feel young again.
The Doctor!
The Doctor! He's here! It was the young, tweedy Doctor this time, with the bow tie.
The trouble is, this letter's incendiary. If its contents were to get out, why, the nation might lose faith in its leader.
I know, exclaimed the tall, thin fellow in the spivish suit. They were the footprints of a gigantic hound. What the devil?
Halt, stop, desist from movement. Stop, and you will not be harmed.
It's impossible. They all look the same.
It was a man, wearing some kind of weathered black leather jacket, and bizarrely lacking both necktie and hat.
Behold the Bronze God.
Advance! An Ironside.
Prime Minister, behind you!
The creature flew at the Doctor at great speed.
Julius Caesar invading ancient Britain. It sounds ideal to me, Doctor.
We are about to engage the enemy.
Under attack! Under attack!
Big Finish. We love stories.
That was the Doctor Who Tin Dog Podcast, available on iTunes, YouTube, Twitter, RSS, Vimeo, and across the internet.
Doctor Who and its associated properties are all copyright and trademark of the BBC. No infringement is intended. Why not become a supporter by visiting patreon.com/tindog. Contact the show on tin-dog@hotmail.co.uk. The Tin Dog Podcast is a founder member of the Doctor Who Podcast Alliance.